What is up, everybody? It is your local Ottawa fan. I'm talking about the 5-2 loss to the Minnesota Frost. I'm not breaking down the game. I don't need to break down the game. I don't need to tell you how good Grace Selwinkle is. I don't need to tell you anything. Outplayed, outshot, outperformed, outscored, out everything. Last video, I was not hitting the panic button. I'm not hitting it, but do I have a button? Okay, I don't, but I'll use this as I'll use this here as the button. My finger's here. Haven't quite hit it, but it is hovering. First off, welcome to the road trip. Gotta win games. 0-2 right now, both losses in regulation. So that's not good. Now, Christmas break. Lots of time to rest up and reset, which is good. Especially considering loss to Montreal, win to Toronto. Well, overtime loss, but still a loss. Win against Toronto. Loss to Montreal, loss to Boston, loss to Minnesota. That is 5 games out of 30. We are a sixth of the way through. A sixth, I think that's about, I think it's 17.5%. So the season's not over. Still lots of season left. But we are into the season. We're no longer like in the early goings anymore. We can't really say that. And we are a team that is 1-3-0-1. If you want to talk just wins and losses, 1-4. We've lost 4 games to a single win. We've got 4 points out of a possible 15. 4 out of 15. That is abysmal. It's also early. We aren't out of the playoff race. There's so much season left. But I said we could be out of it if the road trip goes bad. And this is as bad as a start as it can get. And unlike the other losses, where we either salvaged a point out of it or at least made it a close competitive game throughout, there was nothing here that I can say like, oh yeah, we got outplayed completely. Minnesota looked like the defending Walter Cup champions. Ottawa looked like a team that didn't make the playoffs last year. It was pretty blatant in this game. I said I love this team, right? I do. I believe in this team. That performance can't happen again. It can't. This is, I think, the most frustrated I've seen fans online since we missed the playoffs. The level of there was a lot of just positive vibes last season, no matter what. Even after loss, we're like, that's all right. We'll get them next time. We love you, fam. We're just happy to have a team. I'm so grateful for this team. I really need to express that because I'm gonna be talking a lot of you know what. I love this team. I am beyond grateful for this team. This team is one of the best things I think to happen to this city sports-wise. I've said it before, I'll say it again. It is up there with the Sens and Red Blacks for me. And if you watch my videos, you know I am a diehard fan for those teams. I got the chain immediately. The only reason I don't have a new jersey is because I put it on my Christmas wish list, and I'm trying to get a blanket. I want the cape too. Believe me, I am just as dedicated to this team as I am my others. Love this team. I'm a season ticket holder for crying out loud. I love the players. I love the coaching staff. I do. And I see the ability to be a playoff team, to be a playoff contender. That's the word they used when this team was first announced. When our roster was first released, they were throwing around the word championship. They were saying we chase our first championship at the start of the season last year. And right now it's will we make the playoffs? And we are 5 games in. Are you because we know with this roster, this team could do damage. This team could be the best. with who we have in net, with the skill we have in front of our goalie, it reminds me a lot of the Ottawa Senators. A team where we knew what they were capable of. And that's why I'm not hitting the panic button just yet. I hit the panic button with the Seds this season. In November, I was like, I know that they're great, but they aren't, and they are doing it again, and they're not going to make it. And now I'm like, hopeful. We sit in a playoff spot right now. As I record this video, they beat Calgary in overtime. They got a lead over a bunch of teams that they're chasing down Boston. They're breathing down Boston's necks, actually, on a 5-game heater. Ullmark is looking like a Vezina candidate right now. And the guys in front of him are playing really well. They're playing really skilled, good, gritty hockey. And I see that, and I look at the Charge, and I think, you could do that. You could be that team too. That team that had a bit of a rocky start, and then locked in. I'm not even going to say Maschmeyer could play. No, and Maschmeyer wasn't in net for this one, so I'm not going to, throw that around too much, because, first off, don't blame the goalie. The amount of shots that we had, we aren't going to be like, oh, well, if Maschmeyer was in net. No, if Maschmeyer was in net, it would have been the same. It would have been the same thing. So let's not go there. Because Maschmeyer constantly needs to stand on her head to keep games alive. Because either we get outplayed, or, more often than not, the other goalie is standing on their head, and we can't finish. And the second the other team does, we are put in a hole. This is the first game this season where I didn't think we were going to win. At the start of the third period, I was just like, no, this... Well, maybe not the start of the third period, but halfway through, Final 5 minutes, at least. That's where it's like, okay, yeah, there's no chance. None. There's nothing. That's the thing. There was nothing, really. We got outplayed completely. All aspects of the game. We got beat. And I get it, Minnesota's good. But then when we face a team like Boston, a team that we're supposed to be, fighting for a playoff spot, or maybe that team is Montreal, you look at our record against them. Again, only team we've beaten so far into the season, 5 games in, is Toronto. Don't panic yet, but I said it last video. I'm going to say it again. If we're not within 3 points of the playoffs, you do something. Whether that is fire the coach, whether that is make a big trade, whatever it is, you do something. You do something to shake things up. I don't like the idea of firing Carla. I think she's a good coach. I don't think she's lost the room. I don't like the idea of trading because, trades just ended our season last year. I think if you take back those trades that we made at the deadline, we make the playoffs. But if we are out of the playoffs, and I say 3 points, maybe 4 or 5, whatever, but I wouldn't go more than 6. If we're 7 points out, if we are 3+ games out of the playoffs at the end of our road trip, you have to seriously consider making changes. Somewhere to fix things. Even if that change is as simple as really going for one of the other great goalies in the league so that we can give Maschmeyer some rest. Because that's something I do want to say. Maschmeyer's played 4 out of 5 games. I don't think it's Phipps, is it? Or Phipps or Phillips? I can't ever get names done properly the first time. But I thought she was all right. Maybe a bit more of a balancing act. If Maschmeyer is not playing 27 games, but if it's a 20-10 split, maybe that would help. If every other game Maschmeyer rests, so that the 2 games that she plays, she's elite, and we also will probably get a few other wins with backups as well. I mean, mixing up the lines, obviously, been trying. Zoe Boyd would be, huge, but you can't blame injuries. You can't blame this person not being here, and you can only do so much with line, mixing up. You got to find something that works. And this game, nothing worked. This game, we weren't at least close, and we just couldn't find a way to win. Which, again, I think that comes with time. I think that's just like, if we can get a little bit of a heater, then the clutch gene activates. I think that happened with this team, the Ottawa Senators. As they started to get on a heater, their clutch gene activated more and more and more. As Allmark made those big saves that, we would have a lot of goals that would trickle in. And now we're like, oh, no, not happening anymore. And now we're like, yeah, we're motivated, we're confident, we can do this, and we do it. So I think it's a mix of things. I do. And I think it would be the same thing with the PWHL. If Mashmeyer starts, making... she's already making those elite saves. It's less about making those big saves, but if we start getting those garbage goals, if we start banging in goals off of a rebound, if we start, the goalie's out of position, the puck's just kind of going all over, it's a scramble, and we find a way to just shovel it into the net, we get some of those. Instead of only being up 1, we're going up 2 or 3 goals, so that, it's okay. We give up a goal, we don't give up another goal within a minute. Or we score a goal, we don't give up another goal within a minute. We actually, weather the storm. We go 7, 8, 9, 10, 20 minutes without anything else going on the score sheet. Okay, that might be the thing that the team needs to motivate them to be like, all right, let's clutch up. Let's really finish them. And I think because it's hard for me to exactly place, what it is. But you can tell that there's something that's just blocking this team from being great. Personally, I think there's a mental block there. I think we lose close games. We give up goals, in quick succession. Or we score a goal in quick succession, that is gone. And I think that is... it is something you can work on. It's not just luck. It's something that you can actively work on. It's, how you play, how you maintain your composure. And also, I fully believe that we need a practice where it is just practicing garbage goals. It is just practicing, getting them in off of weird angles and bad bounces, and the goaltenders just sprawled down on the ground, and defenders are just doing this, trying to just hit the puck, get it out, finding a way for you to get it in. But I don't know what more I need to say. This is not acceptable. This is the worst game of the season so far. I hope it doesn't happen again. And if it does, I hope it happens at a point in the season where we can afford to let it happen. I think that's the big thing. You look at where we are right now. You look at what we have ahead of us in terms of the road trip. You look at that we're already a team with only 1 win. You look at the fact that we're already not in a playoff spot. That loss to Boston dropped us out of a playoff spot. You look at all of that, and this is what we do. If we were 3rd place in the league and we had a 10-point gap between us and 5th, then I'd say, you know what? We can't win them all. I said that against Montreal, right? I was like, you can't win them all. That's okay. This happens. Because I was pretty confident that, okay, and we're going to get one back. And we've got nothing back so far. We still haven't won on the road. We've got 3 games on the road. We've lost all 3. We got a long road trip. We better have won on the road by the end of it. I will say this. If we don't get a single win on the road, you fire people. I don't know who, because I'm not a hockey expert, but you at least review everybody and you do something. I don't think that's going to happen, by the way. I think we're going to get some wins, okay? I do think we're going to get some wins. But things have got to be better. I have full faith in this team still. I do. But if we put a few more stinkers out like this one, the upsetness will rise. It'll rise after each and every game. And I don't want it to get to, that point. I like to spread positivity. I do not want to be the guy going on YouTube saying, "Oh, we got to fire the coach. We got to fire the general manager. We got to trade this player and that player and, do all this stuff." That's not fun. I don't want anyone to get fired from their job. I don't want anyone to be told, "Sorry, got to uproot your entire life. I know you have a family here, but you're moving across the country. You're moving to a completely other city and you have no say in the matter." I don't like that to happen. I don't want that. But I also don't want to see this team crash and burn. Got to dig deep. Got to get some wins on the road. I really think our next game needs to be a statement win. A statement win in one of three ways. Way number one, an overtime goal for the Ottawa Charge. Something that has still not happened. If we win in overtime, then I'll be like, "Oh, finally." Even though we didn't get the 3 points, I'd just be like, whew. Winning a tight game by 1 or 2, but convincingly by 1 or 2. Like a tight game, but we get that garbage goal. We don't give them enough. Every time they have a chance to get a goal, we isolate and we execute and we get the puck out of there. And of course, the classic statement when like a 5-0 blowout. If we can get one of those 3, then I'm like, okay, I'll breathe a little easier. If we lose in regulation, my finger's going to inch just a bit closer. Gotta dig deep. And unlike the Sens, we do not have an 82-game season, all right? Like an extended losing streak. Sens lost 5 in a row earlier, but in 82 games, you got lots of time to make that up. 5 games, that is a 6th of the season in the PWHL. We're 6th of the season in. Montreal, Toronto, Montreal, Boston this game. Gotta get some winning done. Yeah, and as always, go Ottawa, go.